What's up? This is your boy Lucky Local. Let's go ahead and get some of this echo out of there. Let's see. The mic going. And get everybody. Welcome to the channel. This is your boy Lucky Loco. And as I said before, this this channel is going to be dedicated to Emily Pike, who got brutalized, unalived, and hasn't got justice yet. So yeah, anyways, this is Indigenous Talk. I was trying to get a couple of people to jump on and see what's going on. But your boy Lucky Loco's gonna ride solo today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and seen a couple of things, man. I know a couple of Seminole tribal members, and man, they got it made in the shade. But that's their hustle, that's their grind, that's their entrepreneurship. That's what true unity means between the tribes or anything like that. With Indigenous Talk, man, and super proud of them, man. They're doing their damn thing. Today's Saturday, one of my days off of work, so I just wanted to jump on and share, see what everybody's up to, man. It's been a minute since I've been on here, so I'd try to get a hold of Zero. Let me see if he wants to. It says deliver. But yeah, I really appreciate stories and big channels like this that go to the reservations and they expose what it's like living on the reservation. It's crazy they'll go through bigger channels to be like, hey man, this is what it's like on the reservation, and they'll get millions and millions of views and support. When you got somebody that's in the reservation, that's in the trenches, that's out here living on the reservations, dealing with the politics of certain reservations, a lot of people will jump on to, they'll jump out. That's why I appreciate bigger channels that do that, because in the beginning of the YouTube, when I started watching, I was trying to get Gunner or Flocko, Flocko followed through. He started with a support and sharing stories of the Native American culture and stuff like that, man. There you go. Voice a little raspy, coming over a cold. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on out there, and as you can see, this is one of the wealthiest tribes and exclusive access. I was watching this earlier today, and was like, dang, they got it. Like I said, they got it made in the shade, and they get it.
Tribe that was never conquered by the U.S. Army, correct?
It's kind of like when the U.S. went to Vietnam. They didn't know how to survive in the swamps. The Seminole tribe has always been rich. We just didn't have any money.
Get a little charge before we go?
Yeah, just so we're not stranded anywhere.
And that's Hard Rock. You own the whole brand.
Yeah, Hard Rock International is owned by the tribe.
We're getting on the highway going interior Florida to the Everglades. Traditional Seminole food. The res here is all gated in.
And then that's the newer side of the reservation. That's where more of the younger people live.
Yeah, matron society.
You can just stay in the bubble.
A lot of people do. We have everything we need. The only thing we don't have on the reservation is a grocery store.
It's very safe here.
Oh yeah, we have our own police department. We have our own fire department.
The catfish dance, do you know it? This is massive.
This is our newest gymnasium. When you see in our logo, "In God We Trust," we are blessed by the Creator. We wouldn't.
That is super crazy. That's something that trips me out about this. Is they accumulate a lot of stuff through the tribe and through opening up the casinos and stuff like that, man. More power to you guys, man. That's super cool. The unity or whatever you did to make it, a Hard Rock Cafe on the reservation is a big thing, man. A big accomplishment, man. So let's go ahead and give them a shout out. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. There's a lot of stuff that goes on through the community. I work at a casino, as you know, you may not know. I work at the Legends Casino here, and there's a lot of hustle there. They make quite a bit of money in a small little town of Toppenish, Washington. It's not the crazy thing is they make super amounts of money, but we don't get paid. We get paid under the minimum wage. So it's if you gotta But we do get 40 hours. We do get one of the best benefits around right now. So there's pros and cons of having that, of not getting the, which, you're worth, when people come up and they tell me, hey, man, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like, man, you can get $16 out of it, bro. I act my wage, basically what you could say. It's crazy to have that amount of money and not really, I don't know, different strokes for different folks, and it's all a money grab. You rarely see any supportive of Native American businesses. They never endorse. They never bring in Native American comedians or DJs or any type of Native American struggles. People that try to come up and do something for themselves and start their own businesses. They lack the empathy of that, I believe, because, like I said, you'll see all these outside talents coming through, and when you got people in other states, other rappers, other people that can put on a show, and maybe bring some. Because the one thing you could do is look out for your own people, especially when you're making $1 million plus a day at your establishment. You would think, hey, look, they're doing a business, they're doing something else, doing something better for themselves. If you can, get on certain stuff and help the community, kind of, you know what I mean? It's, but who am I? During COVID, they got millions and millions and millions of dollars sent through their system. The other businesses got millions of dollars through their whole thing. So, but you never see any type of businesses to where they would give a helping hand. Like, you don't see any shows where people come up and they come out and show out, man, because it's crazy to think that they wouldn't look out. So there's really no, and then you're going against this force, even if it's from their own tribe, their own people. You're going against all these people, and they bring out outside sources instead of giving people the higher benefits, higher jobs, the ability to be a part of this movement they got. They let other people come in and dictate their businesses and all this other stuff. And if they had somebody that really cared about the community and really looked out, I mean, look how the Seminole tribe has expanded. It's you could take a page out of somebody else's book and not be such a money grab establishment. That's my point of view of what that business is. Because you see people that will walk miles and miles and miles to this establishment to spend 15, 20 bucks. And it may not be much to them, but that's that person's last 15, 20 bucks. And, it's a gambling establishment. They say that, it's just so backwards to where you see all these other people doing resources of investing into, how was it, the marijuana shops, the dispensaries. You see these other tribes that are getting into it and getting their money and harvesting. And then there's farmers now in Wapato that are harvesting hemp, and they refuse to get rid of that stigma that marijuana is a drug, and there's so many benefits of marijuana than there is that stigma of the 1970s and 50s, of the reefer madness and all this other stuff that goes on. And, people want to run with that narrative, and they still do. We actually got kicked out of housing for having one hot UA from marijuana. There had to be more to it because there's people that have come up 6, 7 times hot from marijuana, amongst other stuff. But they chose us to be like, hey, man, you got to get out of housing and all this other stuff. Like I said, there's like no unity to where these people here, I'm pretty sure they got the drama. I'm not saying everything's perfect over there in the Seminole tribe, but they made it work. They made it work for their community. Everybody's living and it's not just the people that are put in these higher positions and making more money. they're, you know, at a higher chance of embezzling. You see it. You see them walking around with the gold and all this, you know, the better living. And it's me. There's no, hey, look, we all can eat at the same table. So much greed and such stuff. No, I'm not speaking out of a jealous heart. I'm just speaking the truth when I see what I see. You know, nepotism and all this other crazy stuff, man. Predators that work at these establishments, and when you confront them, you know, these people are in higher positions. I really don't care. Whatever, you know, if you're gonna fire me, whatever. But it's certain stuff that you know, when somebody that's the son of somebody that's high in a higher position at these establishments that they don't act on it. They're like, oh, that's my son. He would never do this. Bullshit, man. I've been there and I've seen it and confronted homeboy. And you know, his parents got some pull in that establishment, but that's only in there. There's such thing as the outside world too, outside of being clocked in and stuff. You know, so there's certain stuff you gotta, you know, tit for tat. You know what I mean? A lot of people come to this place and work their ass off and been there for years and years and years, and it seems like they never get the higher up of positions to where, you know, you can see it. You can see the people that make the most money that come in with the nicest cars, and you know, I understand people work their ass off and get into positions and stuff like that. And I'm just saying, if you got people working there and struggling, and you know, doing the most for yourself and for your family, you should at least look out for the other people too, man. Because getting hired at this place, they're like, oh, you know who hires you and who's all this other stuff. And it's crazy. You know, working at an establishment like that to where it's just me. It's, you know, I could see why people, you know, I'm there, I'm getting my money. You know, they not gonna lie, I just passed my 9 days, got the benefits and stuff like that. But for the people that's been there for years and years and years, they don't get what they deserve. I think they deserve a lot more from putting up with the politics of, like I said, nepotism. That's a real fucking ego breaker right there when you're sitting there like, man, I came from nothing. I started from nothing. I started off in the dish pit, worked my way up to chef into this position and became a supervisor. I've been working here all this time and, you know, maybe getting a little bit more than the average person, but the person at fucking McDonald's that just started there and they're making more than that person that's busted their ass off, worked their ass off, you know, and it's unsettling, is all I can say. I know, I guess not too many people tuned in and, you know, this is the longest I rambled without nobody jumping in or tapping in, man. But, you know, I'll still, there's a couple people that still watch, man. Shout out to Chris from AZ, man. He listens to Homeboy, he'll watch it. And that's a cool ass homeboy. You got people like that. But anyways, let's get into the wealthiest tribe, and this is, but like I said, some people um, they'll jump on the reservation and you know show stories, and people eat it up. And you got somebody that's from the reservation, works at a Native American casino, and you know it's not the most interesting stuff, man.
Have any of this without having that higher power.
Taxes. Skip.
All right, Christine. I just got through security check, and thanks for bringing me in.
You're welcome. Welcome to the Res.
Because I was told with the Seminoles, it's not going to happen. And then you responded.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, I've been watching your videos for a few years now, so I've seen your content.
Is this the Res right now or not?
Yeah. I like to call it the OG side, but it's the older side. Some of them are more modern, but you'll see like on some of these streets, like some of the homes have been here since like the 60s.
Oh, and you have one of your traditional homes.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have the chiquis in their backyard.
Chiquis, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's Seminole style where there'd be a platform, so sleep up off the ground, no
you see how
sides.
this chiqui has those holes on the side?
Yep.
That's a cooking chiqui, so the smoke could go out.
Oh, that is cool. So people use those.
Yeah. This is a family right here that has a bunch of chickies. So those are three sisters that live next door to each other, and they put chickies in the middle.
This is so interesting.
Shout out to
Yeah, you'll see a mix, like you got a modern home next to this slightly less modern home. This
Yeah.
one's really old. That one's an older home with a chicken.
Oh yeah, old Florida style.
that.
Our clinic, so we have our own clinic right on the reservation, so you can see a doctor there. We have physical therapy there.
Look at that. Right there, you can see the Hard Rock Cafe. They're like right on the mother sucker. So that's pretty crazy stuff, man. And this place looks beautiful, bro. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes on the reservations out there as well. But you could tell these people, I believe they get like 70 racks a month per uh, family member, and I think that is awesome. That's a come up. That's the dream. You know what I mean? But they still go out, they go hustle, they go work. And it takes money to make money. And look at the money they're making out there in Hollywood, Florida, man. Shout out to you guys. Super proud of you. Um, you know, if they could take a notebook page out of this notebook of how to spread the word, how to share, and not just like I said, you'll see. I haven't seen anybody on the res that cruises around in a Tesla, but you'll see these nice hunting trucks. You'll see the updated, all this other stuff because they got their family members that work in, that's the chief or you know what I mean, all this other stuff. So on the reservations, there's different strokes for different folks, and this is clearly a wealthy, super wealthy tribe, man. And we got and for the Yakima Nation, I believe they give like $135 per um, family member for the casino they have. So.
There, we have a massage therapist there. Our dentist is there.
Massage therapist.
Yeah.
But paid for by the tribe.
Yeah, by our insurance. That's the new preschool that they're building right now to be larger. The old preschool is a lot smaller.
Are people having many kids here?
Oh yeah.
So more than the 2.2 or
Yeah.
1.8 we currently have?
Yeah, I would say most of my friends have maybe 2 to 3 kids, but there's a lot of tribal members that have 5, 7 kids.
Okay. So the res here is all gated in.
Correct. And then that's the newer side of
Okay.
the reservation. That's where more of the younger people live because that was just finished within the last 4 years.
Nice new homes out there.
Yeah, we'll go over there.
Okay.
But I want to take you to the Council Oak. That's what we call the Council Oak. That's where they signed our Constitution.
And that's Hard Rock,
Yeah.
the guitar. And that's all you guys. You own the whole brand, right?
Yeah. Hard Rock International is owned by the tribe.
Okay, so any Hard Rock in the world, that brand is owned by the Seminoles.
It's either owned by us or licensed from us. So there's other tribes that have Hard Rocks. There's one that's being built in Bakersfield, California. The land is owned by a tribe out there, but the license is through us, so they pay a licensing fee.
Get a little charge before we go?
Yeah, just so we're not stranded anywhere.
Because we're going out, there's this part of the res, and then there's Big Cypress.
Yeah, watch out. You don't want to trip.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that one is more scenic. There's definitely a lot less people out there, but there's a lot more swamp and...
It's Everglades, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you have a few footprints.
Man, shout out to you, homeboy, for real. That's cool that you do this type of stuff. Yeah, I've seen a couple ones where you went to like South Dakota and stuff like that. And yeah, if you guys want to check out his channel, man, he's definitely doing a lot. I really enjoy his channel. I think he's doing a great job. And this is, I think this is great. He's able to, because I'm curious of what the Seminole tribe looked like, because I knew when I was in the system, there was one that was in there. He had it. Like I said, he might have had it so comfortable in there, bro, because I don't even think he was able to get his full amount of money on his books, because it was like, I believe they get every month like 75 to 80,000 a month per family member. So even if you're in the system, and shout out to them people, man. They're definitely doing great. Take a play, I'm just a small voice, I only have like 1,300 followers, and but I do appreciate the people that do tap in, because this is something is great. You know, it's crazy to. Let's see,
Here in South Florida.
Yeah, so there's also another tribe down south, closer to like the Redlands, Miami. That's the Miccosukee tribe. But we're predominantly in this area where is also Big Cypress, Brighton. Then we have another reservation in Fort Pierce. We have another reservation in Tampa. There's another reservation in Lakeland, which is between Tampa and Orlando. So we're pretty spread out around here.
exactly like how.
How many in your tribe in total here?
Give or take 4,300. On this reservation, there's about 1,000 tribal members that live on the res and around the surrounding area in Broward County.
Okay. And you don't just have the Hard Rock, you have this casino also.
This started it all.
This is the starting point.
This was the very first one.
Okay, I was researching your history, and back in the 70s, cigarettes were the thing, right?
Right, so the cigarettes and tobacco are under where I work. So I work for Seminole Tribal Florida, Inc.
Okay.
And we're the ones that do all the distribution of tobacco on tribal lands. After that, our council, they needed to make more money. We were a growing tribe. We were pretty poor back then. So they said, why don't we open high stakes bingo? We're on the reservation, we're on sovereign land. And they did it without permission. And so they got a lot of flack from the state. They got a lot of people that were thinking like we're just a bunch of greedy Indians, but it was providing us with like healthcare, security, and public safety, and all the good things that you would want anyone that is living in this country to have. So high stakes bingo is where Indian gaming started. So the tribe is the pioneers of Indian gaming. They used to teach other tribes like Pequot how to get involved in gaming. After that, they started with the slot machines and everything like that. I was in high school when we got like table games and stuff. And then into college, that's when we started getting like more high stakes, blackjack, baccarat, all that kind of stuff. Before we had gaming, we had orange groves, cattle, vegetables, but it really wasn't providing enough income for us to survive as a tribe.
So Indian gaming all over the country started with you guys.
We really had some, you might have heard him in your research, James Billy was a big proponent of, let's use what we got. We're in Florida. And we had a lot of retirees back then. This was a place where people came to retire.
Yeah, and right in the middle of the urban landscape is this.
This is our council oak tree. So this is where our Constitution was signed by our very first council. Shimmy in here. The Constitution was signed here in 1957.
Okay, and out of 574 federally recognized tribes at the moment, you're the only tribe that was never conquered by the U.S. Army, correct?
Correct. We never signed a peace treaty. A lot of tribes had to sign peace treaties just to be able to survive in where they were living.
You're the only one.
Be careful of snakes.
Snakes, okay.
Or iguanas. So every 2 years we have elections for the tribe. And this is where we have our inauguration at. This is where they would meet before they even got recognized. So when they finally did get federally recognized by the U.S. government, this is where they decided to sign the Constitution at. It's funny that this big oak tree, which is probably hundreds of years old, is right here in the middle of Hollywood. But yeah, we keep it well protected and well maintained, so future generations get to enjoy it and really be able to reconnect with the people back then. They didn't know none of this was going to be here. 441 wasn't that big. It was probably a 2-lane road at the time.
Yeah. That's badass.
So we're going back in Big Town Gate.
Yeah.
This is the main gate.
This is one of the side gates. You have to be a tribal member to go through this one or be an employee.
Okay, so you guys, fair to say, are just natural entrepreneurs, always have been.
But you know what? Take notes of this situation. I'm going to go ahead and show you parts of the reservation out here for the gates where they don't even work at certain places in the house and stuff like that, to where over here on the accommodation tribe. So big difference, but it's all about how you accumulate wealth and how you spread it. Like I said, there's a lot of people that will money grab think of myself, be like, man, this is for me, this is for me and my family. Look out, instead of being like, hey, man, we're a whole nation, we're a whole, a whole community. We need to look out for the community instead of like, hey, man, look, my uncle's general counsel. This person works as a high stake at the casino. So, like I said, a lot of nepotism and stuff like that. And it's like I said, it's heartbreaking to see people take advantage of their own when you should be looking out for your own people. And it's a crazy situation to see and witness, and people will stand by them and vote them into office, even though they embezzled money, and they get on Facebook and talk so much smack about their own people. Oh, look, these, because they really the per caps that they get the dividends from the casinos, the Yakima Nation networks, uh, the forest products, the whatever else they got their hand in to make money, and they will not support other people of their own people or even other Native Americans. You never see them come in. They'll be like, oh, here's a little bit of you could throw a bazaar at our casino. You can do so much with this, and you can and then they charge you know they'll charge hundreds of dollars for entrepreneurs to go up and go set up at their events. When if you're really looking out for your own people, why are you charging your own people? I know it takes money to make money, but if you're only giving somebody $135 a month and you want $500 to go set up at your uh, at your powwows, your stick games, and all this other stuff, man, it's really it's crazy to even think like that, to where they will, you know, only look out for whoever's in office. Uh, like I said, they get caught red-handed. Sounds fucked up, but they get caught red-handed and with the embezzlements and stuff like that, and still keep them in office. I don't live on the reservation. I don't, you know what I mean? So they can't say nothing about, oh, look, he's talking about us, and no, it's it's the truth. And a lot of this stuff is just crazy to even think about. Like, even when the casino shut down, who went out and fed the community of White Swan? Who fed hundreds and hundreds of people when the per caps got cut? And I was making money. Now, I didn't make as much as the casino, not even a glimpse of what the casino made. And I went out and did that. I even parked my business truck outside, and went out there, fed families, kids, all this other stuff. They don't look out. And then, when it came to me having a restaurant, you think, hey, a Native American business that sells fry bread and Indian tacos, let's support him. Let's send people his way. But no, they want to sell their fucking shitty ass food to. It's just like it's it's crazy. Like, when you think you would look out for somebody, they would look out for other Native Americans, people that are struggling. Let's charge them $500 to do this, and no discounts if you're an employee, no discounts if you're fucking from your tribe or any of that stuff. And it's crazy to see that, and it is what it is for them, and it's crazy that And if you speak up about it, oh, he's this, he's that, and it's like, nah, dude, you don't look out if you're not gonna look out for your own people, man. I know whether you like the person or not, man, you gotta stick with what's right and what's wrong. It doesn't matter if you're my best friend. In real life, I stopped hanging out with people that take advantage of others. I'll do a story about him too. It was about this rap promoter out here that was, you've seen him in videos with me and him. He was ripping off his customers. He was ripping off his close friends, man. And there was a lot of people looking for him, and probably still is. And he blames the substance abuse and stuff like that. But he was doing that way before he was on that caca. So, but I didn't go to his wedding. I'm not the best person, but I don't take advantage of people. I don't rip people off. And I don't support that either. I don't condone it. My homeboy, my family, my best friends President of the United States, whoever, chief and council, whoever. You take advantage of people and want to rip them off. And you gotta look out for your people, man. That's how I feel at heart. I don't have much to offer financially, but support wise, if I had the opportunity of like, hey man, I hey, I'm gonna run the casino. Hey, let's look out for this native person. This is a Native American business that doesn't even sell proper fried bread, that doesn't sell, traditional foods, and it's a money grab to where you get the best thing I could say they have there to offer is the seafood, for the brunch or whatever, at the buffet. But other than that, it's take a playbook out of other people's paths or whatever it is. But me, I don't got no say, and I'll voice my opinion on anything if you ask me. I think it's a shady business, and I think it's not cool. Because you see a lot of people work their ass off that've been there for years and years and years, and they deserve a lot more than what they get paid for. Because they have to put up with so much, and like I said, the nepotism, the favoritism, the fucking, it's like it's about who you know and whatever to get ahead. And I'll never ever make it in that business or in that establishment because I got too much of a voice. I voice and point out stuff that's wrong where I work, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people, you know, depend on that income that they get, but I feel they deserve a lot more than getting paid below minimum wage. That's what I get paid below minimum wage, but I work my ass off. But I see fellow workers, co-workers that work their ass, been there years and years and years, and they still struggle. When you work at especially if you're from that tribe, you should be getting more than average, instead of having to, scrape for crumbs and all this other stuff, man. Because it is a cool place to work. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I said, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and they should take a playbook from the Hard Rock Cafe Casino out there. I know it's more of a tourist area, and there's more income. There's more people that will go. I plan on going here. This place looks dope as hell, man. This is my first time watching this, and I appreciate you guys tapping in, man, and let me know what you think of this. But it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I would say anyone that I've met within the tribe has always wanted to start their own business just because that's what we've always known is that if you want to start something, don't be scared to. The tribe wasn't scared to start coming into what we say the city to sell our trinkets, sell our arts and crafts. My mom told me that when she was just a little kid, they would sing Bible hymns in the language and they would get change. So that was like one of the first ways they started making money.
I noticed under your seal it says "In God We Trust."
Yes.
So you're pretty religious here?
Depends on your family. So back in, I would say the 60s or 50s, I would have to look at my history, but we had missionaries that were coming out to the Everglades where we were living at the time. At first the people were really nervous about them because they were white people. They didn't know if they were the government or were they trying to take something away from us, but really they were just trying to teach us how to speak English and not really pushing religion on us.
Okay.
But more so teaching us how to survive in a world that was changing around us.
You got nice basketball courts there.
Mm-hmm. This court's been here since before I was born.
So, for those that don't know Florida sports,
Grammarly now uses AI to help you write, not just revise. Type a prompt and generate a...
literally 10 minutes inland from the coast, and now this is what you get. You were a firefighter, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to get arrested, Walter?
That's down over.
Anyways, I don't know about all that, man. I really don't know about all that. About saying that teaching English and all that other stuff. I'm gonna have to check it out because most of the Native Americans went through boarding school, so this was forced colonialism that was on us, and for them to be like, hey, yeah, they were just teaching. I don't believe that part of the story, but the real truth about us learning the language and even the truth of fry bread. Fry bread wasn't a traditional food for us. You know what I mean? It was something that was forced upon us. When you're forced to survive, put in a corner, and try to starve us off, and fry bread was created, and we were able to survive and sustain. That's why it's such a Native American staple for us to have fried bread and for my business and to know the history of it. There's a heartbreaking story about the Trail of Tears, an Navajo woman making it. And for us to survive these horrible conditions was fried bread. So, I don't know why she's making it sound all Disney like fucking uh, Pocahontas type story, but there's nothing romantic about it being colonized in the history. A lot of people fail. When somebody tells you, misguides you and stuff like that, man, I'll do more research on that because I believe there should be more truth to the story of what it is. But what did I do to switch it up? Thanks for joining the community. Watch this episode. What is this? Expired. What happened to my show, man? Oh, right there. Look back.
And everything like that. I was in high school when we got like table games and stuff, and then into college, that's when we started getting like more high stakes, blackjack, baccarat, all that kind of stuff. Before we had gaming, we had orange groves, cattle, vegetables, but it really wasn't providing enough income for us to survive as a tribe.
So Indian gaming all over the country started with you guys.
We really had some, you might have heard him in your research, James Billy was a big proponent of, let's use what we got. We're in Florida. And we had a lot of retirees back then. This was a place where people came to retire.
Yeah, and right in the middle of the urban landscape is this.
This is our council oak trees. So this is where our our homelands. And this is our culture department for Hollywood. So they teach the language, arts and crafts, cooking and stuff like here. Hey Lacey, how are you? I'm gonna show him the culture camp real quick.
That is so cool. So yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, man, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Look what they're teaching right here. They're teaching them the ribbon skirts. They know how to turn a dollar, and they know how to spread a dollar too. I'm pretty sure they got their own billings. I'm not going to say it. Like I said, I'm going to use my own words on it against me. I'm not going to make it all Disneyland. Like there's probably billings in that area too that do money grabs, but they share their wealth. They show knowledge. They help. Look at this. They're helping them to expand their business, learn the tradition, learn the trade, and they make so much money that it's like they don't even got to go to work if you're getting paid 65,000 a month, 80,000 a month, but they still hustle. They still out there, they don't take their gas off the pedal. They're out there, hustling. So which is pretty crazy. It's cool, and I appreciate Pete going out there and sharing stuff like this. Because like I said, the casino I work at, to me, it seems like a money grab. They won't look out for their employees, and because I see these people every day, and I see them outside of work, and I think they're worth more than under minimum wage, and I think once they will reach the supervisor status and put up with and survive the years of nepotism and all this other crazy stuff that goes on, I believe they deserve more pay than. Like I said, if you just tapped in, man, I make less than minimum wage, and their rebuttal is like, oh, we go by federal standards. We only have to pay you $7 an hour. Yeah, good luck with only paying people $7 an hour to stay here. Just that type of attitude when you hear somebody tell you that, it's disheartening, man. Oh, be careful for the little pennies that we give you. And to be honest, I am. That it's. I'm not there to make supervisor. I'm not there to ruffle feathers, but I'm also going to speak my mind on the situation too. So, when it comes to certain situations like that, and they could be doing so much more than just embezzling at the out for their own family and stuff, man. It's a stigma. It's not just one reservation. We all go through this sort of stuff. And it seems like the more power you give somebody, the more they take from their own people. Like, it's not like they worked at a bank and they fucking went home with $80,000. If they did that as an employee at a bank, they would be federally charged. You know what I mean? It should be the same thing when you're stealing all kinds of funds and stuff that's supposed to be spread out to the people, the children. And yeah, there's some people that are reckless with money, but who the fuck are you to tell them that, hey, if I give you this much, you're just going to waste it. So we're just going to give you the little bit that's out there. You know, I think that's super wrong. Like I said, it's not just one nation. It's there's a lot of them. There's a lot of villains in situations when it comes to Indigenous talk. I want to talk about the modern times of like right now, of the situation. This right here, I'm blown away. The whole suburban area. That if you didn't catch it, check it out on YouTube. He's a famous YouTuber that goes to the reservations and helps show stories and stuff like that. And I appreciate it because a lot of people get to see it, but I think it shouldn't be, like I said, played down to where they taught us. No, no.
Quick, okay? Oh, we won't bother them. So like you were mentioning the platform, so this is how they would traditionally sleep, hang out. So this is depicting a traditional camp of what you would see back when they were living out in the Everglades.
So the point of the Chickee in South Florida is get off the swamp, get up here with some breeze underneath you.
Yeah, well, the critters are down there, so you don't want to have a snake crawl on you when you're sleeping.
Okay.
Also, like they would use it so that, when they did have any kind of flooding, their stuff was safe on here.
Right, and it's like the modern day version of the Chickee is when you're on the coast, some of those houses on stilts. Like in the Panhandle. I mean, a bad comparison, but the point is get it off the ground.
Yeah, and then like they would use the structure for storage. If it was wintertime, they'd put like their stuff up, they'd bring it down.
Yeah.
They had any kind of cooking stuff, they would put it up there. So they're doing a class today, that's why the fire's burning.
Okay, for the kids.
Yeah, they have different classes here. They'll do like patchwork making, doll making, whatever the people are asking to learn, because a lot of us don't have parents that make that specific arts and crafts, so they'll come here and learn.
Interesting. So in a way, this is like the largest gated community in Florida.
I wouldn't know, but I would say we're really large. Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps.
There's the villages. I don't know. That's
Right.
big.
Yeah. That's bigger. But it's everyone who lives here is doing in these establishments. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, we're one big happy family. We might not all like each other.
I'm sure you got some drama in there.
Oh, for sure. Families always do.
This video is sponsored by Incogni. I don't enjoy getting spam calls or spam emails, and I'm sure you don't. Cool.
Yeah. After I graduated, then the tribe had opened up.
Well, yeah, if you could check it out, man, I appreciate you. It says that tribe in the video is getting money because they're in the middle of Miami Metro. Their casino got trapped. Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm just saying if you're able to share and look out for more, like I said, it's really not up to people to be such a dictatorship of like the spreading of funds because it sounds like you're from here, Ace, so because you know about the Fort Simcoe and all this other stuff, and you know about the what it's like over here. Let me see. It says you should do a documentary on the Fort Simcoe Historical State Park. The Indian School on Mark Graves. Imagine of how many kids were abused. Yeah, most definitely. I'm heading out to White Swan here in a little bit, and next week I'll definitely do a story about that because when you go to what A's talking about, there's this town here in Yakima, Washington. It's called White Swan. So like for anybody that's happening, White Swan is a tight community as well. We're, like any community, we have our own problems, and but yeah, if you're able to get money together and yeah, I'm not comparing Toppenish to Florida, most definitely not. Hollywood right next to Miami, big ballers and all these other stuff, man. Just like how the Muckleshoot and all that other stuff. It's all where you're at and where the money's at, and if you're Yakima Nation, uh, at least you get money. I come from a tribe that don't even fucking help you get through college. They don't give me shit. And so when you have nothing to fall back on, you have to make your way out of nowhere. So it's it's crazy, and it's cool to see other tribes and see other conditions, man. And it'd be an honor to go out there to Fort Simcoe and, like you said, talk about the unmarked graves that are out in that area. And it's disheartening because it's with uh, with such unity and such beautiful nation and such limited nation that we have. Uh, we should be unified. We should have a camaraderie of like, hey, look, this person wants to start a business, but you know, being having only 135 a month per dividend and stuff like that, or this paid job only pays this much. This place is already hired to the max. Uh, and dealing with that type of stuff when you go where there should be something like how they were just seeing somebody they were helping their people make the ribbon skirts. And I bet you they make all kinds of stuff to where they can sell and do displays and do stuff like that and make the extra money that they do. And there's nothing to fault. I mean, there's certain stuff that will help you, like at the affordable times. I understand where they help them weld. There's forklift classes. There's certain stuff that you can take advantage of, man. But there should be something to where other entrepreneurs they want to come up and they want to do something other than you know, uh, get loans to help pay bills and help, just getting a little bit of money to give out to that person because, like, I'm not even Yakima, bro. My lady is, and to try to get a business loan through the tribe was, I almost got it, and it was disheartening that I didn't get it, but it could have progressed into something else. And what I'm doing right here is showing other people that you can become an entrepreneur with little next to nothing. You keep fighting, you keep going. Nothing happens overnight. But somebody should be there in that community to be able to give um, uh, somebody should be able to give that opportunity of hope. Be like, hey, look, here's if I can't help you, but this place might be able to help you. This place might be able to help you. And we're always trying to get something going. And then if I got that loan of only like I know it sounds like a lot, but when you get a loan of like $65,000 and being able to get a new food trailer and then be able to set up on the powwow, set up on the stuff, and having that advertisement of like, hey, look, this is what the Yakima Nation did for my family. We did the business loans, we did all this other stuff, and then be able to progress, and then hire other. My whole goal was to hire other people that have the same mind state to where they want to go hustle. They want to do something other than work under minimum wage. And don't get me wrong, I'm super grateful of my job. It's helping me relax. It's helping me. Uh, take time off from hustling because I've been going five and a half, almost 5.5 years of hustling, and it's I have to take a break. I have to take a breather, and I'm gonna get the second wind of being able to do stuff like this and show other people, man. And while I was at the OIC and talking about the business grants and stuff, the business loans that they're going to be giving out to small businesses here pretty soon. I ran into a child. She was about maybe 16, 17, and she came up and was like, hey, look, you're that guy that cooks. She's like, you inspired. She came up and gave me a hug. She's like, you inspired me to go back to school. I'm now getting my GED. I'm now in culinary arts while I'm getting my GED. I'm learning this because you inspired me to go back to school and be able to represent my culture. See, I might not make it and do all this other stuff, but what I'm trying to do is show other people that you can do something, rise up under minimum wage is just a struggle. because the struggles and complaints that I have right now is something I dreamed about. Being able to, I may just break even one day. I may make thousands of dollars one day and only make $50 the other day. It's just a hit and miss. But I know if once I'm given an opportunity of being able to go out and hustle and do a food truck, like a food truck, and I hit people up and hey man, you want partners, you want to do this, um, and be able to go to Kennewick, be able to go to Seattle, be able to go to all these places that do have high traffic and represent our culture and do what we can to get out there because it's because with the youth they need something to look up to, an opportunity. If you're always going to hear no when you go try to act like you hear no about like, hey, I want to start a logging business. I need a truck, I need a fucking chainsaw, I need a trailer, and instead of, they'd be like, oh, no, no, now you got to work your fucking way up from the ground, work a 9 to 5. And there's nothing wrong with the grit and grind, but there should at least be some type of opportunity that you can get from your own people. You know what I mean? Even your surrounding people, if they would be like, you go up, hey, can I get a loan in this? No, 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 no. And then, then you get people that will be like, hey, fuck him. He thinks he's better than everybody. No, it's not that. I find it struggle. I don't mind what I'm doing. I'm out here. You have to have the thick skin. You have to have the mindset of being ready to fail. Failed at a restaurant in Toppenish and moved on. Went back to the food truck. Uh, get my health back, get everything because health is wealth. You can't just keep going till your heart gives out. You got to pump the brakes and start living, man. And it's it's a crazy, crazy situation to be in, and that's what I hope to bring for this channel and bring for the people. You know what I mean? Is being able to give somebody hope. It may not be this field of work, it may not be fried bread, it may not be cooking, but somebody has a skill to where the skills to pay the bills and to have somebody and to feel like you can't do nothing is one of the worst feelings to have. And for somebody that that falls down and like, man, I don't want to do that again. I might hurt myself again. Uh, you know, it, it, the main thing is having somebody laugh at your goals or bring you down. And when you're a kid and you dream and you're this is what I want to do. This is what I want to pursue. There's so much more than selling stuff to make money. And I understand the situation sometimes you put in because you may live in an area where they don't hire. You know what I mean? You don't have a car to get there. Then you start hustling and selling that. But that shouldn't be an option for you. And these kids need to learn something other than the criminal justice system. Some of our kids don't even get to grow old because you start stepping on toes. You got people that are jealous, and people OD, or start getting into hoods, the barrios, and gangs. There's got to be something other than feeling hopeless. Is what I'm saying. Because it's a tricky world out there, bro. And when you got your own people fucking plotting on you, it's not a good feeling. If people could take a page out of the Seminole pages, let me go ahead and get back to the chat. Let's see. It's a crooked politician in Yakima County and the Tri-Cities that keep Yakima tribe down. Some with the Hanford shit makes me sick when I think of these Republicans, Democrats. Yeah, and I appreciate that. It says you're doing great, Lucky. I appreciate that. Your heart and intentions are in the right place, and I appreciate that too, man. Because it's somebody's got to speak up, and a lot of this stuff, like when they try to bully, and that's another thing I don't put up with is bullies, workplace bullies, or like I said, the nepotism. I'll speak my mind. A lot of people don't like that shit, and especially like people that like are used to throwing their weight around, walking around the fucking their job, oh, look at me, I got this power. And then they'll abuse it. If you abuse them, I'll call you out on that shit, whether I get fucking fired or not. You know what I mean? You can't now make a complaint. You know what I mean? You can't make up stories on people. And, just there's just certain fucking stuff that goes on. That's why, it's, just a lot of like self abuse, and they let that little fucking title get to their head and think they're a fucking king or royalty or some bullshit. It's crazy to see that type of mentality when it's just like, yeah, fuck. We're all here working, we're all here struggling, and I'm here to support people that too scared to say something to somebody like that. Tell them straight up. And I have. I'm surprised I haven't been fired a couple times. It is what it is. You can't stop me from being me. That's the one thing. I want to be the voice, especially, show my kids not to put up with workspace bullies or, school bullies or any type of, understand people clown, buddy, hang out with your buddies or whatever. There's just some people that think, oh, I got a supervisor not to talk shit to you or treat you some ways.
How old are you, ma'am? I know I'm not supposed to ask, but
Now?
yeah,
8 or 9.
good for you. Wow.
Sometimes I couldn't believe it. I am 8 or 9. I went away to school up in Kansas, boarding school. Yeah.
Okay.
You heard of Dorsey from Kansas?
Of course. Yeah.
You know the story.
I know the story.
That's her. Hanta mikto ingunga chi hanta achi bale yale imbeke ilitiga yati ulitiga here.
Well, here, I didn't start coming over here until I guess late 40s. Had they apparently had a Christianity came in from Oklahoma. The guy from Oklahoma was down here.
Okay.
I mean, he was a preacher. That's why he came down. But then they found out that on the weekend he's up in Miami bars and blah blah blah.
The preacher was at the bars in Miami with the Cubans partying.
There was no Cubans then.
Oh, really? Pre-Cuban. Wow.
It's a white communities.
So Miami was super white back then.
Practically, yes, until the Cubans started coming in. I mean, they brought them in, I think. When they first brought them in, they take them to New York, but then they started spreading out to here and then Texas.
Do you find it very impressive to see all the growth here, like how well the tribe has done? Has that been a
I haven't
good
thought about it
experience?
a long time later, yes.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
So is this like a communal cafeteria? Anyone can come here type thing?
No. Just for this tribal elders. For
Tribal-
this community and for
This
all the
was,
tribal members,
Okay.
elders.
Great.
This building was a little bitty building, and they had a group called Friends of the Seminole in Fort Lauderdale, a women's club.
Women's club.
They built it here, and it was just a little thing. Then down here, and then that's where they used to go. As a tribe organized in 1957 as well grew. And I remember one time when they dividend $24 a piece, for the whole year, and it was a big deal for us then.
Right.
Yeah.
So the elders are well taken care of here, fair to say?
Yes. They
So
feed us
healthcare-
breakfast and lunch.
We are a matron society.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, when the guy marries, you gain a son, the wife's son. If as a Panther clan, they don't become Panther clan, but they married into you. So.
You come into the wife's clan.
Not for a long time. That's why you don't see too many around. But they do. And then later on, then you see the black ones too. And so now you never really know which one is Seminole. At my age, I don't know. A young person, I just have to treat them like they all Seminoles until I find out later.
The man comes into the woman's family and he takes care of them. He becomes the caretaker, he provides. And the woman we're matriarchal. So, our children belong to us, the women.
Mm-hmm.
The father has nothing to say.
Nothing.
Father has nothing to say as far as raising the
But he
children.
has responsibility of
Just the responsibility, like she said, of raising, providing for them.
Okay, so in 2025, same story?
For some of us,
Okay.
some
That's
of
an
us
old
who are
tradition.
traditional, who believe and carry on those traditional ways and speak the language as her and I do.
Yeah.
Some people with the Christian way, they don't believe in our ways, our traditional ways, or they don't follow them. They know them, but they just don't follow them.
Gotcha.
So, you know, it's a choice, I
It
guess.
wasn't until like late 50s, I mean, earlier 50s, the Christianity came in.
Yep.
And that's a lot of people. That's why you hear them, you see them praying and so forth. But that was
It
not a
says
tradition.
on your seal,
It's
"In
not
God we
that we didn't
trust."
believe in it. It's just
Absolutely.
different, little bit different.
Are you two
Absolutely.
ladies religious?
In our own
Christian?
traditional way, yes,
Traditional
we're Christian.
religion.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
we're
a Christian.
Christians, yes.
Okay.
Because, you know, we have one creator. That's who we pray to.
But
Yeah.
we're not those people that go sit in the church and
Right.
pray and then
Right.
Sunday night, Wednesday night, you know,
Right.
that kind of stuff. That
We
Do you
pray every
celebrate
day.
Christmas?
you
We
have to
pray
live
every
it.
day. We
You have
live
to
it
live
every
it.
day. Exactly.
Do you
Exactly.
celebrate Christmas?
Absolutely.
Christmas?
Okay. Well, yeah, to get the gist of like the elders and stuff like that, and and I appreciate him showing this type of stories and stuff like that, man, because sometimes YouTube gets kind of bland. Lately, it's been kind of bland with the whole big U and all these people that are committing crimes. Now you're supposed to feel sorry for them because they're sitting behind a bar or behind bars. And, you go out and commit crimes, man. And people look at this type of stuff and they see them glamorizing, checking in, and all this other stuff, and thinking that you have to be this type of villain in the community and big you, often a 21-year-old, and excuse me, and all this crazy stuff that's been on YouTube, and it's. I understand it's culture, some part of the culture or whatever, but it's there's more to the world than these little music videos and these diss songs, these videos of people walking through their neighborhoods antagonizing and kicking over candles and all this other stuff, man. I understand those get the views and they'll get monetized. At what point do you take responsibility of sharing that type of stuff? And I don't know why people ain't telling him, hey man, that shit ain't cool. Don't be uploading videos doing disrespecting these people, but antagonizing, because who's gonna get mad? They're gonna come back with their switches and stuff and come through and hit kids. You see people out there in Texas where a kid got off with the dad. She just turned 6 years old. It's there's certain stuff that you got to take responsibility for, and these YouTube channels, they'll push that narrative, and I see it, and it gets so boring. I'm like, man, I'm waiting for chemo to come up with a video. I'm waiting for APA to come up with a video. I'm waiting for just all these YouTubers to come up with something other than these these people looking for sympathy for crimes they've committed, man. And then you get on here and talk about it. You're like, yeah, I did this. I was in the car, and this dude got taken out, and I was there, and now you're sitting in jail. It's a crazy world, clout, and all this other stuff, man. And I appreciate these channels that do share. It may be boring to some people, but it's exposing culture that I didn't know about. I didn't know about certain stuff that, the Seminole tribe and, the only reason why I'm familiar with the Yakima Nation is because I live here with them. Great people, man, and a lot of them are, it's family from up north where I'm from too, because, the Yakima Nation's an agriculture place. And back in the 50s and stuff like that, it was like he was saying, there's a lot of racist motherfuckers that were cowboys and all this other stuff that were talk shit. Imagine how the job was when they openly told you you couldn't come into the establishment if you're Native, Mexican, or black. Imagine the job market that you had and talking about depression and stuff like that. That's why a lot of the Canadians came from Canada to come down here to work in agriculture. My grandmother told me stories about coming down and working in the fields in Wapato and Toppenish, and she was talking about how hot it was, and there's so many different cultures of Russians, Ukrainians, Filipinos, and Chinese, and Native Americans, and they would come down from Canada and fall in love with Yakima Nation people and have kids and stay here. Or some of them would go up north, and that's why I tripped out. There's like a lot of people with my last name Bob. There's people here with their last name is like that, and it was B-O-B or B-O-B-B, and it's there's a lot of culture that's the same as from my tribe to the Yakima Nation tribes. There's a lot of similarities of the culture and the ways, and it's a cool place, man. And if you ever come through, come check it out, man. There's a lot of stuff to come check out in the Yakima Nation thing. And the thing you need to get, if you're coming from out of state, go check out the coffee shops. There's a thing here they call the flavored Red Bulls, and man, they're fire. So I went to California, I went to all these other different places, and they don't have flavored Red Bulls. I'll post a video about that too, because man, it's fire. Maybe you could start it up where you're at, whatever state you're in. Because man, if people do it independently, they'll post on Facebook, "Hey, look, I'm selling flavored Red Bulls today," and it's good. I'll pay, I'll support, man. It's a great thing to be able to see these things. But I'll do like you said, I'll do more stories on the Fort Simcoe. That was something I was already looking into. I visited that place a couple times. It's an eerie feeling when you get there, man. You feel, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You can come check it out. There's the Fort Simcoe. There's obviously there's the Legends Casino. There's White Swan. There's Toppenish. There's the murals in Toppenish. If you want to check that out, it's pretty famous. There's downtown Yakima. There's a lot of cool stuff to do out here, man. I'm trying to figure out a place that has that you would like to enjoy if you want to go eat somewhere. I'll do a couple of things about that. Yeah, it's nice to see other cultures, and Pete, he definitely does a great story on sharing these cultures.
Yeah, Christmas, I'm kind of confused on that.
Get in with the Seminoles. The few people I talked to, they're like, yeah, good luck. That's not happening. No way. And then you saw my Instagram post. And the reason for that, which now makes sense, I didn't think of before. Do you mind explaining that again?
Well, people know who we are down here, especially they know that we're associated with the Hard Rock. So people tend to exploit that information depending on what they want. So they might want to be your friend, your boyfriend.
Okay.
They just, they see dollar signs. So we really have to be careful about who we get involved with and really get taught about what healthy relationships are, because plenty of people have had to go through the, custody battles and getting, taken advantage of.
Makes sense. Okay, so we left that area. This is non-res, right? This street?
The street, yeah, that's Florida.
And then we go right across the street and this is res.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think people around here even know what's going on?
I would say a lot of people, but a lot of people thought when this was being built that it was a new development that they could buy. They didn't. They kept trying to drive in here and see if there was anything for sale. So I'll take you around. There are some elders that live over here, but predominantly the younger people, we didn't have homes yet. We were living with our families, and then when we got older with our own families, they were living off the reservations. We call them non-residents. Once this was developed, a lot of the younger tribal members were able to have a permanent home on the reservation.
So how did the nuts and bolts of this work? If someone is part of the tribe, they get a free home or they get a down payment, or what is it?
No.
Okay.
So everyone buys their homes. They finance them through their mortgage company. They have to do all the financing on their own.
Okay.
So a lot of the younger tribal members had opportunity to save up, so they were able to afford it.
When you mean opportunity to save up, you mean like when you exit high school or something, you get a certain lump sum of money, or what is?
No. So if you're a tribal member, since the day you were born, you started receiving per capita distributions.
Okay.
That was stopped in 2013 because the population growth was happening too quickly. And like I said, there's people that exploit are tribal women. So
Oh, yeah. So marry a Seminole woman, you're going to be set type mentality?
basically, yeah, they like to be kept. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say that's everyone. I wouldn't say that that's like the general consensus, but that definitely has happened to quite a few people.
Okay.
So if you were a younger tribal member and receiving per capita distributions for a majority of your life, especially when we started getting increases back when I was in high school, those were going into a trust fund. So you know, once you turned 18, you were able to tap into it, whether if you were buying a home or if you were starting a business or something like that. There's criteria. That didn't involve me just because I was too old for the trust fund.
Okay.
That started after
What-
I turned 18.
If I may ask, and I totally understand not answering, but what is the amount an average person would get once they reached adulthood? Or
I would say that's a question for Google.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they definitely have that information on there.
Okay. And did they, because it's tribal housing, did they keep the prices low, or did they keep it market value? when
They're
they sold?
definitely more affordable. Like these are
Okay, let's check it out. And hey, no, I'm not part of the Colville. I'm Pakwachin First Nation from Vancouver Island. Google, check it out. How much do Seminole tribe members get per capita? Holy shit. Holy shit. It says Seminole tribe members received a substantial per capita payments with estimates reaching 128,000 annually a year. These payments are bi-weekly. Holy fuck. Can you imagine getting that type of fucking loot? Receive bi-weekly, include access to free private school and college tuition, and universal health care and elder care. It says, and for the Seminole people today, every man, woman, and child in the tribe receives bi-weekly dividend payments of total of 128,000. Alligator wrestler. That is amazing. Man, that is crazy. Man, that is. I mean, look at the houses, homie. I mean, you got. Look at the cars. There's no. This doesn't look like no reservation, bro.
all rentals.
Okay, so a lot of the young people are staying here on the res.
Yeah. You're surrounded by people that understand you, that grew up with the same teachings as you. This is home, even though we're in the city.
Okay, so it's very safe here.
Yeah.
You have your own tribal police.
Oh yeah, we have our own police department. We have our own fire department. We have service aides that are always cruising around the reservation just to keep the community safe.
Okay, and then Florida State Sheriff can come here, right? But the local police are not coming here.
Correct. Say if there was someone here that had a warrant, they can't come on the reservation unless they collaborate with our police department. And more than likely, they're going to escort them. But I've never been involved in that, so I'm not quite sure how that works out. I just know that they can't just come on here. So if you're not allowed onto the reservation, like how you came through the tribal office,
Yeah.
you had to show your ID, they scanned it, they make sure that you're not on the BOLA list, that you're not banned.
The what list?
The BOLA list, so
What's
to be
that?
on the lookout. Or if you're on the ban list, we do have an extensive ban list for people that are, like I was mentioning, that have exploited tribal members.
Oh, okay.
Or if they're like known within the Broward County or Miami area as like having gang related activity, they are banned immediately if they come through and they give their ID. So they'll scan you to see if you have anything like related to that. This is where we sell our cigarettes out of. This is our wholesale.
This place.
Mm-hmm. It's very inconspicuous.
Where are you selling those to?
We sell them to Hard Rock. We sell them to Classic
Okay.
Casino.
Okay, great. So this is your casino fully.
Yeah.
And you have big concerts here, a lot of
Oh
events.
yeah. They
Like
have
big names.
Yeah, and we have F1 coming up. That's at Hard Rock Stadium.
Seriously?
Yeah, F1's in May.
Are people pretty pumped on that?
Oh yeah, F1's been here. I think this is the third year. It's very popular. A lot of big artists come here. Post Malone is a frequent celebrity that likes to come. Drake loves coming here.
And how old is that?
It opened up in 2019.
So would that be, say, the heart of the Seminole economy these days, this Hard Rock?
Not this one specifically. It does contribute to it. The most successful casino in the nation is our Hard Rock in Tampa. There's no competition.
So, you know, it's interesting doing this work. I'm all over the country. I've been on many different reservations.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing I've learned, Every tribe is different. You can't categorize it as native people, right? It's like everyone has their own identity, their own economy, their own way of living, their own cultures.
Yeah, just like any other, you know, you might speak the same language, like people speak Spanish down here, but there's different dialects depending on where you're from. Y'all might have similar cultural traditions, but, you know, they all kind of span from where they're from, their origins.
Right. So it's like Crow in Seminole could be like Venezuelan and Argentinian or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all have the same teachings, basically, that, you know, there is one creator. We try to stick with creator just so that it's not grouped into a specific religion. Like, we have Seminoles that are Jewish.
Oh, interesting.
Their mom's Jewish and their dad was Seminole. I have a friend that he was called a Mikajuki.
Okay, so most people are a mix these days. For example, what's your mix, if I can ask?
So my dad was Irish.
Okay.
And my mom is a full-blood native, so I'm half and half. I don't think that most people would be able to tell that I'm half Native American. My dad's genes were very, very strong.
And there are very few, whether that be Native Hawaiians or Native anything, like very few 100% left, right? Like Seminoles, are there any?
Well, Barbara, who you were speaking with, she's a full-blood.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's a full-blood.
so that was a real luxury.
Dorothy is a full-blood. Most of the elders are going to be full-bloods.
And then it dilutes, and then
Yeah.
if to be part of the tribe, you need to be 1/4, right? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
Some tribes are 1/4, some are 1/8.
Yeah, a lot of talk has been made, or will we ever change that? It hasn't. You know, it's been a conversation that has been brought up within the last, I would say, decade, just because the blood quantum has been so, I wouldn't say diluted, but, you know, from the generations going on, like my daughter is considered a descendant. She's not a tribal member because she is an eighth.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So she gets health care under me as my dependent, but after she turns 18, she'll have to get her own health insurance.
That's sort of tough because it's your daughter. You want her to be recognized fully in the tribe.
She isn't recognized like on the tribal roll, but she
Okay.
is a member of the community and people know her name. People ask me where she's at if she's not with me. So it really depends. Lost in those times.
Is this the best survival game ever made?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized. Previous
Just because they couldn't afford to have a child crying. So a lot of them would put the moss in their mouth to silence their crying, and a lot of those babies were passing away due to suffocation.
So never signed away with the U.S. government.
Nope.
How did that play out after like the U.S. government just said, okay, here's some zones you can live in, which is almost like a I mean, those are reservations.
Yeah, they were once the tribe became more organized, we weren't federally recognized yet. It was, I'm not sure the year, but the U.S. government made the decision to do a termination list, not meaning like to terminate the people, but
Right.
to terminate any kind of support that the government was giving the tribe. They went to D.C. and they said, give us 30 years to get organized and you'll never have to worry about us again. So at that time, that was when we became federally recognized.
And it's so wild. Not that long ago, the last Seminoles were hunkered down here somewhere in the Everglades 2 lifetimes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going, can I touch here?
Yeah.
We're
It's just
going,
like an iPhone.
we're going out here, right?
Yeah, that's Snake Road. As you can tell, it winds like a snake.
And so the territory that you guys have out here is what, like that, or is it a huge territory?
No, so this right here is considered Miccosukee. You can see it right here in Miccosukee
Oh, yeah.
Reservation. And then once we get about, I think it's like 20 miles down here, this is
Oh, there
right
it
here.
is.
This is Big Cypress.
Big Cypress, okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference of you guys and Miccosukee?
We're basically the same people. It was just, you know, politics got involved.
Okay.
The Miccosukees were recognized.
For some reason.
A lot of people think that.
Have your home in Hollywood on the res,
Mhm.
and then you got your vacation home out here.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. I wouldn't say it's like the norm. It's definitely like if you had a family member that lived in Hollywood and you inherited that house,
Yeah.
you're allowed to have a home on multiple reservations. You just can't vote on multiple reservations.
Do you pay property tax?
No.
That's cool. You have to have insurance though, or that's up to you if your house. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good. We're making a video. Is it okay? You're in the background here.
He has a YouTube channel, so he wanted to learn more about the tribe and everything. I took him to
Evergreen Forest out here.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I really appreciate you, Pete, for sharing that type of stuff, man. Because I've always been curious of the Seminole tribe, uh, the Shakopee tribe. I want to go ahead and take a look at that next. Um, and yeah, I definitely want to do different stories of different tribes. Excuse me, sorry. Do apologize. I'm on my lady's laptop and stuff, man. But I appreciate you guys tapping in, man. My son's getting it's his birthday tomorrow. I don't know if you guys want to buy some fried bread premix because I can't do super chats or anything like that. But if you're interested in helping out, I would appreciate that. I sell fried bread premix at $10, $10 a bag. Hit me up. I could mail it out to you. I sold quite a few different fried bread premixes along the way. The process journey comes with a YouTube video on how to make it step by step. If you guys want to check it out, me and Rascal did a live together, and I showed him how to cook it from the YouTube. We did a video together, which I thought was a great honor, man. Shout out to Rascal. Rascal needs to come out with some BBK. Somebody needs to come out with some videos, bro. Jay Hands has been doing pretty good too, man. I've been watching him. And watching the beefs and stuff like that go on, man. It's a little bit entertaining to me, but it's not my full what I watch. Because now when you check the videos, people obviously it's big topics, man. People become content creators to becoming content. You know what I mean? We witnessed it all through um, Savage Studios, being on a live, and then we watched, Flacco becoming inmate, convict's perspective, becoming a convict again, and it's unfortunate times, man, to be, on social media committing crimes and, selling stuff. And um, I'll stay in my lane of being a lame, whatever, as long you see my kid come in and give me a hug. I'm living in the house and, working a 9 to 5 and, getting paid under minimum wage is better than, working for an extra sandwich or extra sack lunch at the end of the day. And, who's got a book? Pass me. Anybody got a book on the tier? Pass me. I've been through all that, bro. And um, I hope somebody sees it and doesn't have to repeat the mistakes I've made. And that's the whole thing. Like I said, I enjoy hearing past stories and all this other stuff. And, I just don't get down with the whole having to be real on YouTube and showing crimes or bragging about crimes where the feds are watching, police are watching. And, I guess before you jump on a content thing, you have to read like you're the police. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. In a court of law, I mean, nothing to play with, man. Life is nothing to play with, especially if you're out here moving and grooving, man, and getting caught up in the streets and YouTube street. It should be embarrassing that you have somebody you know, from the barrio doing stuff like that, and it's just like uh, it's a crazy thing to think about, and but yeah, it's a crazy world to be in, and the YouTube streets and the YouTube yard. Hope people see that this ain't the place to jump on and tell Adam 22 the crimes or Vlad or anybody, man. They jump on and have 19 bodies and come on here and talk about it. There's a place, a church you can go to, and it's called Confessions. You don't have to jump up on the YouTube world and do that. And this is the type of, it's sad to say, man, you're a grown man, you're from the hood, you're from the audio, and, I'm glad most of the people don't get on here and brag about their crimes and stuff like that. It's just be safe, know what you're getting into. And, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. I'm going to go hang out with my kids. I appreciate you guys tapping in. And I'll definitely do, let me see. See, you got Ron Garcia. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ron. I'll strip out on how white people get involved with the tribes and start running shit and don't like it. Native people should run their own affairs. It's crazy. And, you see a lot of people jump in and say, we're tribal. Yeah, so it's I appreciate you guys tapping in, man. And just know when you support Indigenous Talk, man, I really appreciate you guys tapping in. It's a platform I enjoy doing as a hobby. Uh, we learn as we go because, I'm colonized. Starting to learn their culture and stuff again. That's why your boy Lucky Local started growing his hair again. Or I grew it while I was in prison, but this time you're gonna bury me with my braids or cremate me with my braids. And that's just how it is. And looking out for other tribes, I've got an interview coming up with. I don't know if you guys caught the video of the guy that does the Northwest. The Northwest. Let me see. Northwest Indigenous. Oh, YouTube. Anyways. Yeah, so the Northwest Indigenous warriors in Canada, they definitely they handle their business, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything that you guys do for the channel, and yeah, I definitely want to keep this going. I want to keep. I don't even care about the monetization. I just want to be able to speak my voice and be able to have my opinion on stuff. And I don't like getting into the politics. I don't know anything about the government, and that's something. I don't vote. I'm not going to go bash somebody in the face because of who they vote for or any of that stuff, man. So, but a lot of people want to, talk smack on my Facebook page. And it is what it is. So, anyways, man, I definitely appreciate you guys tapping in. You guys have yourself a great rest of your week.